Welcome to Tuesday night webinar. Actually, this is the Tuesday night tech takeover. It's all about the Deal Driven app 2.0. A lot of you guys expected Julie and Peter. Well, that's not them. I'm here. My name is Barry, and I am one of the coaches here at Partner Driven. And I would just really like to thank you guys for showing up tonight. We have an awesome webinar, which we got Ben, the creator of the Deal Driven app. So we're going to unveil 2.0. A lot of dynamic changes have been made, making this, like I said before, guys, if you heard me talk on Facebook or whatnot, it's simply the best driving app, real estate app out there for driving for dollars, virtual driving for dollars, all of that. And we're going to get to that. But first, let me let you know who I am. But we got some people, and how many people we got? We got like 56 people. I know normally when they do this, they do the shout outs to see who's on the call. We got Greta, we got Jeffrey from Georgia, we got Luis. Hey Luis, what's going on, man? We got Shane, we got Marty. I'm sorry, Marty. We've got Brad Moore. We got other people showing up from all over the United States. So, welcome to the Tuesday night call or the Tuesday night webinar, or as I dubbed it tonight, Tech Takeover. Okay. So let me let you know who I am. Like I said, my name is Barry. I am one of the coaches here at Partner Driven, but I was also a partner just like you guys were. And the great thing about real estate, man, there's many ways you can make money in real estate. There's many paths in real estate. And mine so happened to be the coaching path. All right. And it's all about knowing your investor ID. And one of the things that we do here at Partner Driven, we do these Tuesday night webinars. Peter and Julie and Rafa and the gang, they've been doing this for well over a year. And, every time they do it, there's two types of people that we do this for. Okay, we do it, number one, for our partners. All right, we always want to make sure that we're checking in with our partners, giving them something relevant, something new, and to keep them engaged through the week, because we love our partners and our partners love us. So we want to make sure that, that we're always engaging them with, thoughts, topics, new ways to do things. And that's what we do here at Partner Driven. The second types of people who join the Tuesday night webinar are those people who, maybe they're on the fence about becoming a partner, or maybe they just get on because they like what we do. There's a lot of people who come on a regular basis and they just love, what Peter and Julie and everybody at Partner Driven does, but they still may be on the fence about it. Well, hopefully after you see what we got for you tonight, I know the Deal Driven app has been presented to you before, but not like this. 2.0, it's amazing. But anyway, if you guys, if you want to join Partner Driven, Rafa's going to put a link in the chat box. Schedule a call with us. Go ahead and schedule a call. Now, if you're really serious about doing it, then just pick up the phone and call Peter. You can call him. Let me get the number at 404-948-5255. That's for those guys who've been doing this, coming on, and you're serious about it. I don't know anywhere else you can get 100% funding for your deals. Okay. Not just the funding, we take care of a bit of everything. We provide you with leads, but now you're going to provide yourself with the leads because the Deal Driven app is going to give you the ability to get them. I'm not going to give too much away. Also, we have the back office. So, all those mundane things you have to do when you do a deal with the contractors and getting the contract in order and making sure the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. Well, we take care of that for you as well. So if that's something that really interests you, go ahead, go to www.partnerdriven.com, schedule a call with us. And if you're already like, I want to do this, hey, just give us a call. Or give Peter a call at the number I said a while ago. So I want to go ahead and just jump into this because I know Ben he doesn't have a lot of time, but we got some new stuff with the Deal Driven app. You guys are going to absolutely love this. We unveiled it at our partner meeting this past weekend. And man, I'm not going to say anymore. So without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to Ben.
Thank you, Barry. Hello, everybody. Hopefully I know I've met some of you before. Maybe I met some of you last weekend. But yeah, as Barry said, it's all about generating leads. And prior to this version of the app, we were a Driving for Dollars app, which is a fantastic way of generating leads.
Yep.
But we had a little bit of a gap there that we filled since then. So I'm going to focus tonight on generating leads. I'm going to show you how to find properties, get them into your lists, whether you're driving for dollars or you're sitting at home searching based on whatever criteria you're interested in. So let me go ahead and get my screen shared here. And I'm going to breeze through some of the beginning stuff. Again, I'm assuming a lot of you have seen this. If you haven't seen it before, we've got a really good YouTube video library of getting started that'll cover all the basics for you. And of course, our support line is always available.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and log in here. And I'm going to dive right into finding properties. So this is what you're going to see the first time you log in. If you've not added any properties before, you're going to see two big buttons. You've got point and click driving search and list building search. I know Barry wants me to start here, but I'm still going to give a little love to point and click driving search.
Yes, go ahead.
Because this is still one of the best ways to find properties. What this map is, it's for essentially live tracking you as you're driving around. Of course, I'm on a desktop here, so it's not going to actually be able to track me. But this is for you're out in an area, you're driving down the street, you see a house, you want to find information about it really quickly. You can simply click on that house on the map and immediately find out information about it. A little bit of a sluggish internet here. Let me refresh. Let's see what's going on here.
Yeah.
Different location that I normally am. And yep. Might have to go to a different search mode here. I'm not getting the speed I'm used to. I'll try one more time. There we go. Just refresh a little bit. Sorry about that. So anyway, you see what I'm doing here? I've zeroed in. I typed in a street name, which brings up, it centers the map on that street, and then I can click around. The idea here is, I'm actually in my car driving down this road, and I want to find out information about these properties using point and click. If I'm on an iPhone, and some of you have already done this, you can also just simply point your iPhone at the property and hit the capture button, and it'll pull up information about it. So here I've clicked on this house at 1075 Taylor Oaks Drive. I can see immediately who the owner or owners are, get a very good valuation that's updated every single month for all 150 million of our properties. I can get an equity estimate based on the current valuation of the property and all outstanding current mortgages on that property. And I can see the last sale. And if I'm interested in more information, click here and expand it even further. See all the basic attributes you would expect to see about the house, beds, baths, zoning, that type of thing. Then over in the financial column, again, some of this is a repeat, but I get to see the valuation, the equity, the last two sales and their dates, the tax assessment amounts, improvements, market value, total assessed value, and total outstanding loans. Scroll down a little farther and I can see the owner details. Over and above their name, I also get their mailing address. So when you're sending out a mailer to this person, this is the address you're going to send it to. In this particular case, it of course matches the actual physical address of the house, but that's not always the case. This is this address would be their tax bill address. This is where you're going to want to send letters. And then here's the physical property address with a little more details, including zip +4 and even the parcel number. So if you want to go out to the county website and look up that property, you're going to use that parcel number here. And if I've decided at this point that I want to proceed with further research on this property, I just simply click add to list. And then I've generated my first lead. I've added it to a list. I can flip over to my list view here by going back over, and then I'll see that newly added property with all of the information I just saw. I can go down to its details, dig in a little further, look at an expanded, easier to read view of that list of properties I just showed you a moment ago. In addition, I'll have a notes box here, and this is one of several ways where you can do your CRM, if you will, or your process for moving this house through from initial lead to marketing to owner offer to ultimately, hopefully, closing a deal. You can document that entire process here in the notes box. You can type as many notes as you want. You can separate them by lines, and those notes will always be available. So let me just show you real quick. Let's assume that in this particular case, I just want to indicate that there's uncut grass. I can type that here, hit save, and that note is saved forever with this property. If I go back to the list view, you're going to see that note right here. So we want to show you as much as we can in the list view, and then when you want to see more, you go into the detail view.
Hey, Ben, real quick.
Yes, sir.
That's a good point. If you guys have people out there doing, excuse me, driving for dollars for you, they can actually put a note in there. I'm getting choked up tonight.
All right, Barry. I know
Yeah.
the Heimlich, but unfortunately,
all right, go on. I'll get to it.
okay. I think what he was getting ready to say before he got all emotional is that you can have as many people as you want driving for you, and if they're going to add properties, you may want them to enter notes to tell you what they saw since you weren't actually physically there. I think that may be what he was going for, but he'll clarify once he clears his throat. And again, this data is saved forever, and you know if you're out driving for dollars and you enter this data on your iPhone or Android, when you come home and log in, everything's going to be there on your desktop or your iPad or anywhere you log in. It's always going to be there. So that's the details tab. I think we've covered that pretty well. Other than the very last portion of that, this shows all the mortgage history on that property, which we use this to calculate the outstanding loan balance and the equity. But you may want to refer to this to get a little bit more detail to see what's going on with that homeowner and their financing. The next most important tab here is the owner tab. And this is where we list one or two property owners. In this case, there are two. They have a different last name for whatever that means. It's John Link and Heather Ellman. And we do not have any phone numbers, mailing addresses, email addresses, or social URLs for that person. And this is where skip tracing comes in. And we have two types of skip tracing. If you are a partner, first of all, you get to use this app for free, which is pretty amazing. Partner Driven pays 100% of the cost of the license of this software for you guys to use it all you want. But if you are a partner, you could do what's called a free skip trace. And what that means is you're requesting a free skip trace. We put it into a queue, and it takes about a day or two. And we will go find phone numbers and email addresses for you. Typically, actually, I'm sorry, we'll just find phone numbers for you in that case. Yeah. Sometimes email addresses. And that's what we're calling our free kind of a light skip trace. It's your first pass if you're a partner. But if you want to do a much, much deeper skip trace where you can get additional information like social URLs and more email addresses and more phone numbers, you can do what's called an instant skip trace. That is not free. That costs you 1 credit, and you can buy credits on your account. But I'm going to go ahead and do one here. So I clicked instant skip trace. I'm going to click yes. And it takes 5 to 10 seconds. So maybe on this connection, maybe even longer. There we go. So in this case, it found this is an extreme example. You don't normally get this many, but it found 11 phone numbers and 8 email addresses for these homeowners, which sounds like overkill to you, and it probably is. But the way this works is it sorts by the most likely to be current at the top. So you definitely want to start at the top. This is most likely that person's current phone number. If that one doesn't work, move down to the next one. And then, you're probably going to stop before you get to the 11th number. But this gives you the absolute best possible chance of communicating with this person to get all of their current numbers. We've also got different mailing addresses. Of course, one of these is probably going to be the property address. But these may be either other properties they own, or maybe this person they don't actually physically live here. These are addresses you may want to send postcards to, or at least add to part of your research process. And then we found a whole bunch of email addresses for this person. So you can start with the top email and reach out to them that way. So it's quite amazing the amount of information you get in an instant skip trace, which you saw in 5 to 10 seconds. And by the way, you could be sitting at the curb in front of the property and get all this same information at the same time. We also got a social profile, and we've got the person's LinkedIn now. Some of these I don't even know what the social profiles are, but for the most part, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter are the ones that you're going to get that you want to pay attention to. Now, again, use your own discretion how you contact these people. Be appropriate, about the spam rules and so forth. But all of this information is available to you within 5 seconds, as you can see. And the last tab we call tasks, and this is your CRM. And what we do is we have pre-built a set of tasks that are added as to-dos for every single property when you add it to Deal Driven via Driving for Dollars. And those 3 tasks are, first, new property needs review. And the idea here, and this goes back to what Barry was saying, if you've got somebody out there driving for you and adding properties, you as the account owner, the investor, are going to certainly want to review all those properties to decide if it's even worth pursuing. So that's kind of what this task is all about. It's always due on the same day the property is added to Deal Driven. And it just, you want to mark it complete when you've gone through your due diligence. You've looked at the property, you've looked at the valuation, mortgage equity, all of the data that you need to use to determine if you want to move forward. And when you've done so, you just click this little checkbox here. It marks it as green, and it's no longer a task that's due for this particular property. The next one is call the property owner. And, it's pretty clear that's one of the tasks you want to perform. You can mark that complete when it's done. And we also put a third one here that's visit the property, which, doesn't make sense if you're the one out there driving for dollars, but if you have someone else doing it for you and you're deciding whether or not you want to make an offer on the property, more than likely you're going to go visit it. So this is another task that would be assigned to you automatically. We can also go over here and grab street photos. I've obviously already done this in a demo because they don't come up by default, but for this particular property, if this were empty, you simply click get Google Street Photos, and we'll go out to Google for you, and we'll find the vertical down satellite view, and if available, the street view from directly in front of the property, which is this one here. You can, of course, upload as many additional photos as you like. You can take one of the property literally right when you're there and then include that on a postcard. Ultimately, when you mail them, is always a really nice touch. Or you can even take a picture of yourself in front of the property if you'd like. It's totally up to you. You can add as many as you want. And lastly, you can add documents, because obviously as you go through the process even further, you're going to accumulate a bunch of documents about that property. You can store them all here. You can store unlimited documents, and they're separated automatically by the property, and everybody on your team would have access to them. So that's what those are for. Before I move forward to the next section, Rafa, are there any super urgent pressing questions, or should I just proceed?
We do have interesting question that came in from Luis. Luis asks, will this work for properties, apartments, storage facilities?
Residential apartments, condos, multifamily, absolutely. Storage facilities, we don't have data on that. That is interesting, though. That's something we should consider.
What about commercial properties?
Yes, in driving for dollars, on this type of search, we do have commercial properties. So yes, you get valuations. You can even get mortgage information about those properties. So absolutely. Any other questions before I move on?
Yeah, Nisha asks, if there's a phone number, so sometimes a search generates like this last time. What if, as we're going through the process, we identify a number is not real? Is there a way to delete it and get it out of there?
Yes, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked. And what you do is you go back to the phone numbers section, and then each one of these will have a checkbox next to it. You simply check the ones that you want to do something to. I can either delete them or I can create an activity. And that simply, in this particular case, an activity means give yourself a task to call that number. So that's what that does. But I can easily, like, for example, if I decide this phone number is just no good, I can delete it and it's gone forever. So I won't ever make the mistake of calling it again. That holds true for email addresses as well. Additionally, you can add your own phone numbers. If you've got some independent research or you found out their number via some other mechanism, you can just add it right here, either through another instant skip trace or just add it manually by filling out this form, and then it's saved. So this is, we try to do as much research as we can for you up front, but then you do your own research. You can always add that information. That holds true for all of these pieces of information. If you gain additional knowledge, you maybe from a realtor, you've got a better, even more accurate valuation, you can update that number here. If you find out something about their financing, you can update the equity. All of these fields can be updated by you. And incidentally, once you add a property to your list, it's your property, your data. You're not updating it for anyone else. It's yours and yours alone.
One quick thing about the the phone numbers. If you get a list like that sometimes, and maybe you're calling them and the number doesn't belong to the person you're trying to contact, that doesn't mean that's not a good number. That just simply means it doesn't go with the person you're looking for, but that's another opportunity for another lead. So when you're talking to them, and they say, well, I'm not Mr. Smith. My name is such and such. Oh, I'm so sorry I bother you. But hey, do you or anybody may be looking to sell a property? So even though the numbers may not be who you're actually trying to call, it could lead to another lead. So don't think that just because you got 11 numbers and 5 of them went somewhere else, they're not good. It's always an opportunity. Okay.
You know, Barry, Rafa here. And one of the times that I did a phone calling on from the Deal Driven app, I was going through, and most of the time I do find people, right, the persons that I'm looking for. But one time, the first number was actually the mom of the person that I was looking for.
Wow.
And of course, guess what?
Yep.
She gave me his numbers. So absolutely, it's worth doing a little investigating. You know, you have to put on your investigator hat as when you are using this kind of data.
Yeah, because all leads are not bad leads. All leads are not bad leads.
That's right. And on that note, it is not uncommon at all for relatives' phone numbers to show up here, because the skip trace provider we use pulls from a lot of different sources. And then when I skip trace myself, my dad's phone number comes up. So that's an excellent point. And he'd probably give up my details in a heartbeat. So,
oh yeah.
There are more features of this list that I want to cover, but what I wanted to do is increase the size of the list. So let's go look at the other type of search. So we focused on the driving for dollars, one at a time, point and click search. The next thing I want to talk is list building search. And this, just like its name implies, this is for building larger lists of properties. And this, my mouse battery's dying again. What this does is it lets you search an area for properties that fit a certain criteria. So let's focus on Roswell, Georgia. So I type that here. Again, super slow internet. I apologize. There we go. I'm going to type Roswell, Georgia. It'll autocomplete for me. And then what happens is, once the internet wakes up, this is so slow. I really apologize. It's going to censor my map on Roswell, Georgia, and immediately do a property search surrounding literally the center point of where I typed. And that center point happens to be this blue dot right here. So it just did a search for properties of any type, which is, you know, somewhat useful, but maybe not exactly what you want. But then you can filter based on properties you're interested in. For example, if I only want to see vacants in my area within 1 mile, I just click the vacant button and it'll do an instant search. Green icon means vacant, of course, because you'll see properties of other types. This green circle you see here is the area in which I'm searching, and I can increase or decrease that. In this particular case, I received 85 results for vacant properties within 1 mile of this center point here. And here are the properties. So for each one, I get, you know, the basic information at a quick view. I can see that this particular property is vacant and it's non-owner occupied. It's a single family residential. If I want to see more information about it, I can click that little arrow and see its equity, valuation, last sale date, beds, baths immediately. I can do the same for all of the properties in this list.
Yep.
It shows me 20 at a time. And the way it works is it shows the 20 closest to the center point that meet your parameters. So because we're assuming here that you're going to want to optimize your routes as you're visiting these properties. As you page down the list, which I'll do here, and I'll look at the second 20, you'll notice the icons for each property get a little bit farther away from where you were originally standing. And as you continue to pan out and go to the last properties, you'll notice they're going to be on the periphery of your search radius here. Now, let's say I want to search out even farther. I just go to my search radius and let's bump it up to 4 miles and see what happens. Hit apply. It'll do an instant search. And at this time it found 306 properties. And if you notice, if I expand out on my map, my circle's gotten a lot bigger. Now I'm actually hitting other cities here. So you very rapidly start searching lots and lots of properties when you do this. So again, I can page through this list. Now let's go back and set like a reasonable radius and let's build a list. So here we go. I've got 141 properties that I found in the center of Roswell, Georgia that are vacant. Let's do some additional filtering. Let's go to this filters button right here and say I'm only interested in properties that have at least 30% equity, at least $100,000 valuation, but I'm not interested in properties worth more than $350,000. I can set those limits and hit apply. And then I've narrowed my list down even further. So now within 2 miles of this center point, there are 43 vacant properties with a minimum equity of 30% and a valuation between 100 and 350,000 that are single family. So that's my entire filter. So once I'm happy and I'm ready to build a list, I just simply select all, click add to list, and in this case, I'll just tell it to create me a new list. And it's done. Properties have been added to your list. It named the list, the date, and the current time. So now let's go over and look at that list. So I go back to my properties list, hit my little drop down here, and you'll see a newly created list. Click on it, and there are my 43 properties. And you'll notice that each one of them either says no mail or vacant. Those are essentially equivalent. And in non-OO, which stands for non-owner occupied. So these are all my vacant and in some cases non-owner occupied properties. You'll notice here that some of them even have an auction date. So you're going to get additional information when you go look at this list. You're going to see who the property owners are. You're going to see whether they're owned by the city, whether they're owned by an LLC, Fulton County Board of Education in this particular case, or individuals. You're going to see all the same information you saw when we went and found properties via point and click, but in this case, you're doing it through building a list with search parameters. Now, I mentioned before that I wanted to cover some of the additional features of the list. Now that I have enough items to make it interesting in here, I do want to show you a few things. First of all, you can always sort by different attributes. I personally like to sort by date added descending. So literally the newest properties are always at the top and they bubble toward the top. So that's when this down arrow means descending. If I want to switch to ascending and see the oldest properties that I added, I just simply click on it and it reverses the sort. And so it's very quick to do that. You can also sort by other fields like date updated. And the idea here is like as I'm adding notes or I'm updating the status of a property, I want it to bubble to the top of my list. Well, if I sort by date updated, that's exactly what will happen. I can also sort by valuation. So then I can say, all right, I want my most highly valuation, the highest valuation up top, in this case, 348,000. I can flip that sort and it'll have the lowest valuation up top and sort ascending. And the last one you can sort by is equity, which, as I mentioned in a meeting the other day, we are going to also add equity percentage because I believe that would be even more useful to sort by than equity. And we'll probably add some additional fields here, but these sorts are always available to you. And over and above sorting, within a list, you can also set statuses. For example, let's say this particular property and this property, I am now marketing those properties. So I'm going to check them, go to set status, change it to marketing. It'll confirm that I want to set to. And then I can use these filters that you see over here, and I can filter by statuses. So for example, let's say you're working within a list and you just want to focus on the properties you're currently marketing to, just click that and it'll filter down to those two. It gets all the rest out of the way. You work with these properties and then when you're done, you can go back to your all filter, or maybe you want to then go look at everybody you've got an owner meeting with this week or all your properties where you have offers out. You can filter by those. So that's the idea there. So we highly, highly encourage you to always organize your properties in lists. You can have as many lists as you want, and a property can be in as many lists as you want. For example, you might have a list that tracks all of the properties that are vacant. You might have another list that tracks all the properties where you've sent an owner letter, and a property can be in both of those. It's no problem at all. So it's just a great way of organizing, and then within the list, you can sort, filter, just like I showed you here. So now that we've done this, let's go back into search and look at a couple other things you can do. So again, whenever I want to go to search, I always click property search. There's two options. I'm either point and click driving or I'm list building. Let's go back into list building. It's going to keep the same sort and search that I had in there before. Now let's say these are my, my properties with 30% or higher equity. Let's say I want to get rid of that filter. See this little X here? I just delete that, and now all of a sudden it's no longer filtering by equity. And I can go in and change another filter, and let's say I now only want to look at my high equity properties, 90% and above. Click that, and now I've only got 37. So then I can build another list for high equity. Now, let's say I'm done filtering by that. Let's get rid of all these parameters that we've added by simply just checking on them. And then let's go look for pre-foreclosures. But I don't want to look right here. I want to go to a particular neighborhood that I'm interested in. So let me go to my favorite neighborhood here. I'm going to type Taylor Oaks Drive to go into that neighborhood and watch what happens. The minute I type this, I typed in a street, it's going to find me every single property on that street. There's 73 of them on Taylor Oaks Drive. So I can, I can zero in on an individual street like that. Let me pick another one and show you how it works. I'll go to Garden Wild Place, and it's going to show me every property on that street, and they're all gray. And what that means is none of those properties are either vacant in pre-foreclosure, auction, or non-owner occupied. So they're all just, you know, standard houses, but you can still go in and take a look at them. But let's say, all right, I've searched this street now, and I want to search for other types of properties in this area. For example, pre-foreclosures. I just clicked the pre-foreclosures button right here, and boom, and immediately found 3. And it did a search centered on that particular street that I just typed in, Garden Wild Place. Let's go look for auctions. Click there, it found 2 that have auction dates. Let's see about non-owner occupied. Boom, click there, and it found 592 non-owner occupied within 2 miles of that point. So you can very quickly see how fast you can build lists. Now let's say I'm interested in multifamily. I don't want to focus on single family. We'll get rid of this filter here. And now it's going to find multi and single family. Let's say I don't want to look at single family. I go to filters, go down here, just focus on multifamily. Now it's only going to find apartments and condos. You'll notice, and townhouses, miscellaneous, some of this, I haven't seen that status before. That's interesting. But anyway, condominium units, you'll see apartments, you'll see all sorts of different multifamily statuses here. And there's 182 of them. And by the way, if it, you know, apartments and condos have different ways of doing addresses, but if they're addressed where each one is unique, of course, it'll show up as a unique address. But if it's an apartment with unit numbers, then they will also show up uniquely in this list. So you'll see an address, then you'll see that same address repeated with a bunch of different unit numbers. So it definitely supports multifamily, and each one has its own independent valuation and equity information. I'm going to pause for a second because I see a lot of flashing up there. Rafa, are there any pressing questions I should address?
And there is one, a really good one from C. Morgan. C.
Okay.
Morgan is one of our partners and was a little late for this morning's call. So Barry, this is a little bit more for you.
Okay.
So now that we have search available inside of Deal Driven, how does this affect the leads that they're getting from Partner Driven and the Google Sheets? Like, how are we going to start working moving forward?
So starting today, and I said this morning, I think on the call, you are responsible for getting your own leads now. We do not have to provide them for you because you can actually go in and do them yourself. You can actually look at the vacant properties. You can actually look at the pre-foreclosures and the auctions, and you can pull those things yourself. Like Ben said, we got filters, so you can go and filter them out, and you can kind of filter them out based on, you know, the criteria that we have as partner driven, or you can filter them out if you have other avenues of, you know, doing things with properties. You can filter them out like that. So
Barry,
yeah,
what you're saying is that moving forward, our partners have the freedom to do the type of searches where they want to, how they want to, wherever, and be able to filter based off of their greatest interests. Is that correct?
there you go. There you go. That's simply amazing to me. I mean,
That's right. And do your request your skip tracing just like you always do.
Yep.
Export your lists just like you've probably done in the past. Like, let's go back to that list. I'm glad we covered that. I'm going to go back to this new list that I just created that had all those vacant properties in it. I'm going to click this checkbox here, click Action, Export, and it will immediately export your list to a CSV that you can open up in Excel or pull into Mojo Dialer or pull into Podio or any, you know, just about every software product that supports an import supports the CSV format. And this works if you've got a list of 5,000 properties and you hit export, it's going to generate one file with all 5,000 properties. So that's another major improvement we've made. And I apologize profusely to those of you who have already built large lists before version 2. It was very slow. That's no longer the case. It's super fast. Doesn't matter if you've got 100 or 10,000 properties in your list. It's very fast for importing and exporting.
Yep. You told me something today that we have over 1 billion files or access to 1 billion.
We have almost 1 billion records in our search index. And what you're looking at here is the nice visual representation of our search index. And in there we have, and some of this isn't available yet to this user interface, but it will be. We have what we call assessments, which is the tax assessment. It's the basic details about the property. It's you know, tax information. And then we have a valuation table, which is the monthly updated valuation of every single property based on comparable sales in the area. And then we have the assignments, which are mortgage assignments. Then we have the mortgages file, all available to you. And those are all searchable using our search index. So that sums up to 500 million records.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot.
It's crazy. It's taken us a long time to put all this together.
Yeah.
And the fun thing is, every 30 days we get another data set that we add to the search engine. So it's constantly going to be updated. And we've got obviously a bunch of features we're building in the future, but one that's going to happen really fast and I'm excited about is you're going to be able to subscribe to a search. And the idea here is maybe your particular niche that you focus on are, auctions or pre-foreclosures or vacant, and you like a certain area. Well, you go ahead and define that search, build that search, and then subscribe to it. And we'll send you an email anytime a new property meets your criteria. Because you may search out there one day and only find 47, but in a week you're going to get a notification there are 5 new pre-foreclosures that meet your parameters in your area. And you're going to be able to subscribe to a bunch of lists like that, which I'm really excited about that feature. So we want to get out there for you as fast as we can.
So you're telling me if I was to focus on one area in my town in Sacramento, strictly for pre-foreclosures, I subscribe to that list. I don't even have to go out every day and check it. If something new pops up, it's going to show up in the list.
Exactly right. And the way that works is we just run the searches for you, automatically, and we run it on your behalf and we compare. And if there's new properties that have been added or properties fell off, you get a notification.
Man,
yeah,
that's crazy.
That's going to be some really nice stuff. We're also going to add other types of data over time. We're working on getting, lien information. We want to know if there's divorces attached to the property. So you're going to see more of these search types over time. The other thing you're going to notice right now, you can do these one at a time. You might get lucky, like I think we did. If you go to pre-foreclosures, let's expand my radius here and look for some pre-foreclosures. You're going to notice the color coding of these icons. You'll see some that may be blue. Like you may find a non-owner occupied pre-foreclosure, but you can't actually search for both of those at the same time yet. We're going to change that as well. So you can couple up these features or these filters in addition to all of these filters and really, really make it very specific as to the type of properties you want to look for.
Yeah, they call that stacking list. That's what they call it. So I saw somebody ask about probate. Are we going to be able to get that?
We're working on it. Yeah, we're working with our data provider to get that, but we do not have that now. But you just mentioned stacking lists, which I'm very glad you did, because the way you can do that here is let's say you want to stack vacants with auctions. You can build a list of vacants using this search, as you just saw. Search for auctions and add them to that same list, no problem. Or you can build 2 independent lists and then add the properties from one list to the other list. It's all very easy to do here. I'll show you really quick how that would work. Let's create a new list. We're going to call it Barry. Now I can go into a list that we just built. I can select all the items in there and I can, click the wrong button. You'd think I would know this. I can go here, add to list, Barry, and confirm 43 properties to Barry. So there you go. So regardless of what was in Barry's list before, now I've stacked those 2 lists together. So if I go over to the Barry list, you're going to see the same properties.
Same properties.
So this is a great way of, splicing and dicing your properties. You can also delete lists. Like I think it's a great idea just to create a list for every single day that you go out, organize it in its own list by itself, and then move them where they should go as appropriate. And then just delete this list. Just get it out when you're done. And by the way, deleting a list does not delete the properties in the list. You're never going to do that. You can always find all of your properties in this all properties list. The only way a property actually gets deleted is if you specifically go in and select action delete. And even then we say permanently delete these 2 properties, ? We want to make sure you're doing it on purpose. You have to click yes. That's the only way a property is ever deleted. And we don't limit the number of properties you can have stored. So, deleting is, if you want to do it for your own organization purposes, of course it makes sense, but there's no technical reason that you would have to do that.
Wow. So guys, you see what this app can do. I mean, I know we did this a couple of months ago when we first introduced it to people, but now in a short time, we've got 2.0 You can add lists. You can go out and find your own list, create your own list with vacant properties, pre-foreclosures, non-owner occupied, all those things you can put in. It'll work on your laptop. It'll work on your iPhone. It'll work on your Android device. You can do driving for dollars, physically out there, or you can just do virtual driving for dollars on your laptop and add and put these lists together, skip trace them, and contact these people. So I think, go ahead.
It is on an iPhone while Barry's talking. I'll click around in the background, but here it is on your iPhone. So you can do all the same stuff.
Same stuff, guys. Same thing. That's why it's called the Deal Driven app, because you can actually go out there and drive for dollars. And right now, I know we're doing it. You can actually get this app for free for 7 days. You can go ahead and sign up at dealdriven.com, get a 7-day free trial. If you like it, you keep it. After that, it's like $49 a month, and you get all this, right? And for our partners, you guys get this. As being a partner driven, you get this for free. So I don't know of any other real estate app out there that can do this, and it's only getting better. So, take advantage of it. Rafa, we got any more good questions to be asked?
Yeah, guys. Thank you guys for such a great presentation on Deal Driven 2.0. Truly, we're going to have to do some more webinars for everybody over the next couple of weeks as people are getting to play with this and work with this. Because there's a lot of excitement in our community over this, and there's some great questions. So Luis Medina asks, once you start adding images and info, and guys, you can add documents, images, notes, so much more. Luis asks, will you need to free up storage in order to keep adding additional property info?
Not a bit. We store it all in the cloud. None of it's actually stored on your phone or your desktop or anything like that. So you never have to worry about storage. We'll worry about that for you.
So they can have whatever list that they're working on and working on in earnest, taking pictures, taking their own pictures, because I don't think we demoed that tonight. We showed how the app can pull in pictures, but we're able to also put in our own pictures while we're there at the property, not only from the outside or through the appointment that we have with them. All of that data, Ben, what you is no matter how much we put, we don't have to worry about it.
That's right.
Deal Driven takes care of it.
That is right. And as Rafa mentioned, this little button here on the bottom right, now that I'm in the iPhone mode, just opens up your iPhone camera, take a picture, immediately add it to the document. Include that on the postcard, and it's much, much more compelling postcard when you send that out than if you just grab a stock photo.
And that's absolutely true, because I've taken pictures and I don't see them in my gallery. So that's absolutely true.
Yep.
Yeah, so someone earlier asked, number one, Ash Atkinson asked, can we import lists?
You can import the list. If you're a current partner and you've got the spreadsheet, we do have the ability to import that. You'll be getting a communication about that shortly, so you can pull those in really quick. As far as importing from third parties, we don't directly support that yet, but if we find a compelling need, we could certainly add that.
So partners, there is a path for partners to be able to import lists, which connects to a lot of the infrastructure and support that we've had for our partners for some time. But if you're not a partner, imports are not available currently, not yet. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, we prioritize features based on really what we're hearing from the current users, and by far this type of search is a top priority. The next thing is Teams, and then we'll get into some of those other features. So we're really prioritizing based on the real need out there.
That brings up a great point, Ben. The truth is that everyone that's been following us for some time, they know this, that beta version 1.0 was launched August 11th of 2019. In that short, not only have there been rapid features that have been added all throughout 2019, but we just launched the whole 2.0 version with a whole new functionality, which is the search. And Ben, you have no plan of slowing down, do you?
No, we don't have time to slow down.
Nah.
We want to keep it going. This thing's growing. I mean, we've got just since Sunday, when literally the first time we flipped the switch on this new search, there have been over 10,000. In fact, I'm going to get a count for you right now. There were over 10,000 searches last time I checked. I'm sorry, not searches, additions of properties across, 10,736 properties have been added to lists using the new search since Sunday, and we've barely promoted it. So people are using the heck out of it, and that's what keeps us excited. That number will be 100,000 in 2 weeks or less for sure.
And a
couple of people have asked. I'm sorry, Barry.
No,
a couple of people have asked about the either exporting of pictures. Can we export the pictures we've done on properties? But the real purpose is so that they can send marketing pieces out. So, for example, if you're driving for dollars and you took a picture from Google automatically, or you happen out to be there, you take a picture yourself up front of the property.
Here's the beautiful thing. This is just a browser-based app. So all of these pictures are available on your smartphone, your desktop, your iPad, anywhere. You just simply click this little 3 dots and click download. And that's it. You've got the picture just as if you downloaded it from anywhere on the web. And then, if you're on your iPhone, that's going to go to your camera roll. If you're on your desktop, it's going to go to your downloads folder. Then you can print it. You can copy, paste it into an email, anything you want to do with it. So these are just regular web-based images at this point. So I'll click download here, and you can see in 2 seconds I have a JPEG. You won't be able to see this because I'm only sharing my browser, but I'm looking at this now in my image viewer.
Yeah, and the one thing about this app, like you said, we're actually adding more features, and I know some people want to have the ability to market out of the app itself, and I think that's what that question was about. Can we take that image and put it on a postcard and send it via the app? Now I noticed that's something that's coming, but
we're in negotiations with a couple different printers to make that a turnkey solution. By that I mean we want you to be from the app, pick and choose the properties you want to market, choose the style of postcard, and hit send. And then we, in a completely automated way, send that out to the printer, and then they fulfill that for you. And then there's a feedback loop, so you'll know that those have been sent out. So you won't send out duplicate cards. You'll choose the return address you want and so forth. So we absolutely want to make that a turnkey solution for you guys. We're also adding some additional skip trace options. This really applies more to the non-partners than the partners, but it'll be there for them as well. We want to create a kind of a middle tier skip trace in between the light one and the super detailed 12 email address one that you saw.
Yeah,
we're expanding there as well. And then we want to improve our CRM features. We know a lot of people use Podio and others. We're kind of taking the sweet spot of their features and building that into this product. So you won't spend as much time jumping back and forth between different tools and importing and exporting. We want you to be able to do it all right here.
So guys, this thing is simply amazing. And like I said, you can try it for free for 7 days. You can test drive it. You can go out there into the field. You can be at your desk and you go ahead and do your searches, get all the information you want for 7 days for free. And then I'm pretty sure once you get to at the end of the 7-day free trial, you're going to continue to use it, because this thing is simply amazing from when it started all those months ago to where it's now and where it's going. So, give Van a round of applause, man. This thing is super, super, super great. And the great thing about it is that me and other partners and Partner Driven were able to implement or help implement the changes that have taken place. Because when it started, this did not look like this. And it just morphed overnight. So it's like, wow, you know what I'm saying? So 7-day free trial. Go to www.dealdriven.com and go ahead and sign up. 7 days. And then, you're going to like it. You're going to keep it. I know you are, because I got it. And then you're going to go ahead and pay $49 a month. Okay. And I think that's about all we have for tonight. We got some, Rafa?
Well, Barry, if I can add one more thing here.
Sure.
Because this is the most amazing part about the whole thing. Because not only can they try it tonight for free, right? Mm-hmm. But if they like it, which we know they're going to like it, because it's combining multiple tools that they would have to pay out there right now today to get RealFlow, to get Pipedrive, to get all of these different tools, you get into the several $100s right off the bat. Yeah. Just for one of the tools that Deal Driven takes over, it's at least $100 a month, right? Yeah. And what Deal Driven does, and no one else is doing in the industry, no one else is has been able to bring under one roof, under one software, the ability to do the driving for dollars part that we all know as investors is an incredibly powerful way to get in front of properties that are not on the marketplace yet, right? And to build direct to owner relationships. But number two, to then also be able to do the search part right from your home, to be able to search for vacant properties, of pre-foreclosures, of auctions. Guys, that alone in the marketplace today is well in the $100+ a month. And not only can you try Deal Driven tonight for free and get that benefit, but if you like it, it's already at 50% off of whatever you find on the market and then some, because it's truly multiple tools in one.
That's a great point. Great point.
Yeah. And for that, Ben, we do congratulate you. We're so proud to have Deal Driven as a central part of our partner-driven community. And partners have loved it since we launched it in August. Mm-hmm. And they've been, like Barry has mentioned, they've been an integral part of providing a lot of the feedback. This generated version 2.0.
Yeah, yeah.
We're the first ones to benefit from it. It's going to be incredible. People that aren't partners yet, dealdriven.com. Try it for free tonight. Yeah, it's absolutely awesome. Thank you, Ben.
You bet. Thank you. And I will relay everyone's thanks to all the people that helped me. I'm kind of in front here, but there are definitely other people that are making this happen. So I'll make sure they hear your thanks and praise as well.
Right. And I know we're going to have to do some more of these videos or some more of these webinars. One thing I did want to say before we jump off is that when you get into the Deal Driven app, we absolutely do have help videos within the app itself. So Ben's going to show you, we have some in there, but I'm going to go ahead and add some more during the course of this week so we can get these new features as a help video, because I know this is a lot of information coming to you guys fast overnight in the night, and you're like, okay, I got all this, but I got questions. Well, we're going to put the help videos in there so we can help you move right along and get more experience with this.
And subscribe to our YouTube page. That helps us. It's called Deal Driven. You can't miss it. And just all those videos will be out there. So please do.
All right. All right. So I think that's all the time we have tonight. For you guys who, like I said in the beginning, if you've been wanting to be, a part of the Partner Driven family, go ahead, go to www.partnerdriven.com, schedule a call. This is a great program. This is, really, I call it a family. It's just a family. And once you get a part of the Partner Driven culture, you're going to understand that. But if you're really seriously, the number is going to be in the chat box. You can call direct. But please, we appreciate you guys spending time with us. You could do anything else on Tuesday nights, but you chose to spend it with us. So we're so thankful for it. And I think next week, Peter and Julie will be back. But for tonight, this was Tech Takeover with your boy Barry and Ben and Rafa. And guys, have a great evening, and go ahead and go to the dealdriven.com and get this app. It's a must. All right, guys. You guys have a good evening.
Good night, everybody.